Fair to say you simply flooded the system with money.
Yes, we did. That's another way to think about it. We did.
Where does it come from? Do you just print it?
We print it digitally. So we, as a central bank, we have the ability to create money. That actually increases the money supply. We also print actual currency, and we distribute that through the Federal Reserve banks.
Right. This is it. It is over. This is what the end looks like.
So that I think that the internet is going to be one of the major forces for reducing the role of government.
Something called Bitcoin.
Brother, can you spare a Bitcoin?
Bitcoin. You never heard of them a few weeks ago? Now everybody's talking about them.
The one thing that's missing, but that will soon be developed, is a reliable e-cash, a method whereby on the internet you can transfer funds from A to B without A knowing B or B knowing A.
Yes. He predicted the future. That's why that clip is so cool. He actually predicted the future, that they would invent something like Bitcoin. Once in a, you can't even say, it's once in human history type of thing that happened when they made Bitcoin. When Satoshi Nakamoto came out with that white paper, that was it. That actually totally and completely changed the world and infected some people's minds to where they became maniacs and just wanted to buy as much Bitcoin as possible. And so you have people out there still, like Michael Saylor, who's doing exactly that. And then you have lunatics like Elon Musk going off about energy consumption. Like he wants us to care about energy consumption. So that's the big news. There's a lot of financial news today, so I'm going to bring you that first, and then I'm going to go and talk about the rest of the news in a split show. So it's going to be here on YouTube, and then the rest of the news on DLive, where I can tell you this, no more masks. The masks are maybe over officially per old man Biden. So I'll tell you that in the future news. But really, this is a show about cryptocurrency and finance. And that guy, Elon Musk, who's in the picture for this thumbnail, that guy is, like, what's wrong with him? What an idiot for saying stupid shit about Bitcoin, especially considering that he owns billions of dollars worth. Why would you do something stupid like that, Elon? So that's what he did. I'll show you the tweet and we can talk about it. And maybe he's just trying to pump up Dogecoin. I mean, it seems like there are signs that maybe it's all a ploy to pump up Dogecoin more, as if Dogecoin is the best of all the possible currencies out there, which it's not. But on the other hand, it's way better than most people realize. It's way more useful than most people realize. We can talk about that too. I don't mind saying that. And there is big news about Dogecoin today too. That's kind of breaking news, which is that you can buy it on Coinbase now. So Coinbase finally relented and said, oh, okay, we'll list this top 5 cryptocurrency with a market cap that's bigger than Coinbase itself, or at least it was. And so that's big news too. So Dogecoin is up. And this channel, I don't say Dogecoin is stupid. I say, if you want to have some Dogecoin, that's not crazy. If you have a lot of it, and you don't have a lot of other stuff like Bitcoin or Ethereum or Litecoin, then personally, I wouldn't have a lot of it. But having a little bit of it, I don't know how crazy it is. People will say you're crazy, but I'm holding on to it. It still could go higher. It might not be over for this Dogecoin thing, and it's because of fools like Elon Musk. There are better currencies out there, but so I'll show you what he said. We can talk about the strategy for that. We have inflation numbers are out. Been talking about inflation forever, so want to make sure to talk about why it matters, and it might affect the stock market in a big way, and it might affect cryptos too. It might, we might be in for a big giant crash coming up, and maybe because of inflation and because of what it means for interest rates. So I want to make sure to talk about that. What other news do I have for you? I have those items. Oh, the other dog coins. There's other dog coin news in case you got into Shiba Inu or even more obscure dog coins like Akita Inu, or even more obscure like Husky or Poodle. I mean, I've seen them, and I've been known to get into dog coins a little bit too. And that is really, really, they'd say it's retarded really to get into dog coins. But when you're in a market, your play, if the market is retarded, then acting retarded is sometimes really profitable. And maybe that's maybe that's a new thesis of mine too, is that in a market that, in a retarded market, acting retarded can be extremely profitable. Okay, so that's a you can try that, not with all of your portfolio, but with some, the retard part. Can't say that right. Can't say it, but they say it on Wall Street Bets, so people understand. We're just being ironic. We're not being not talking down to retard. Anyway, you know what I mean. So dog coins, yeah, there's news in that too. And then that's about, I think, what I have for you on the crypto news front. And then we'll go to the rest of the news. So I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. This is the crypto channel, LTV Crypto, where we talk about, Bitcoin and stuff and other altcoins too. You can, I do cryptocurrency consulting. You can sign up for that at bitcoinmissionary.com. I do that during the day. You can also check out our shirts. We're at truthclothing.io, where we have crypto shirts. We're long cryptocurrency, and we have crypto specific shirts in our crypto shop. If you go to truthclothing.io, check it out. They're all very unique, not like you can find anywhere else. Dogecoin, Pirate Chain, Litecoin, all available for pre-order right now. It's really cool stuff that you can't find anywhere else. And we're known for having very high quality shirts. Check it out, truthclothing.io, and you get free shipping on orders over $50. All right, so let me show you. Let's see. This is what Elon tweeted out about Bitcoin, and it made the market sell off immediately. So it was definitely Elon Musk's tweet. He said Tesla has suspended vehicle purchases using Bitcoin. We are concerned about rapidly increasing use of fossil fuels for Bitcoin mining and transactions, especially coal, which has the worst emissions of any fuel. Cryptocurrency is a good idea on many levels, and we believe it has a promising future, but this cannot come at great cost to the environment. Tesla will not be selling any Bitcoin, and we intend to use it for transactions as soon as mining transitions to more sustainable energy. We are also looking at other cryptocurrencies that use less than 1% of Bitcoin's energy per transaction. So there are a few things here. First of all, a lot of people push back immediately and say it's ridiculous, and they will tell you the energy argument for Bitcoin has been debunked, and the reason that Bitcoin is not bad, even though it uses a lot of energy, is because some people say 75% of all of the energy used to mine Bitcoin is through renewable energy sources, and it also goes to fund a lot of renewable electricity. A lot of the cheapest way to get power, just period, in general nowadays, is with solar or wind. So a lot of the energy already used to mine Bitcoin is renewable, and because you can turn because of Bitcoin, this is the whole thing about why his argument is ridiculous, is Bitcoin allows you to monetize energy in a way that wasn't possible before. You can turn energy created anywhere into value because of Bitcoin, because what you need mostly to mine Bitcoin into existence is a lot of power. And, all that power means that the network is super, super secure. But because you can turn energy anywhere into Bitcoin, they are able to look for ways to produce energy could be in very remote areas that's cheap. The cheapest way possible anywhere in the world, and a lot of times that's renewable. A lot of times it's hydro. A lot of water power can't be collected because they have to collect it at the source. And by the time they get it sent to where it needs to be sent, a lot of the power is lost. And so there's a lot of this wasted energy. And there's also wasted energy from flaring from gas wells also. So they actually find ways to use, because have you ever seen those flares that come up from gas wells where they actually have to burn off extra gas because they're not able to harvest all of it? Well, that, which would normally be completely wasted energy, is now able to be harvested to create Bitcoins. So Bitcoin is actually making energy more efficient, and if anything, may actually fund an energy revolution. We may, because of Bitcoin, find new ways to produce electricity that are more efficient and maybe completely renewable too. It could lead, because energy creation becomes profitable because of Bitcoin in any form. It could lead that kind of energy revolution. So it is a bullshit argument in a lot of ways because of that argument. A lot of renewables used already, and it drives energy development, innovation. It actually drives innovation in energy. So it should make energy overall better, and maybe we come out of it being able to create infinite energy. And then Bitcoin will use even more energy because it won't matter. So that's that's as far as that goes. However, Bitcoin I think people should be realistic and say, look, it uses a shitload of energy. And if that's not necessary, then maybe we should use something different. I think that's an argument that people who are totally Bitcoin maximalists don't think about. So we already got the argument out of the way for why the energy argument is bullshit, and however much energy Bitcoin uses, it's all good because of all these other factors, because it's going to drive energy, innovation, etc. So you have that argument. However, it uses a shitload of energy, and if it keeps going up with the price, which it kind of does, then it's going to use even more shit tons of energy. And do we really need to be using that much energy, considering maybe there are alternatives that do the same thing as Bitcoin basically, but don't use a lot of energy? And there's Justin's son is underneath this thread talking about how his network, on Tron, they're able to use way, way less energy. And I think what Elon is talking about is maybe Dogecoin, which, from what I understand, currently uses less than 1% of Bitcoin's energy per transaction, apparently. So, is it possible? Is it possible that there is something that does the same thing as Bitcoin, that it's unnecessary to use that much energy to do the same thing? Like, in other words, you can still secure the network without using more electricity than, name whatever country it uses more electricity than. Maybe you can do it. So then, okay, so we have these other cryptocurrencies, and you're saying the other cryptocurrency can do the same thing, but it doesn't use the power. Well, why don't we use that? So and I think that's still possible. So, for people who just have Bitcoin and stuff, I do think that energy thing, it is possibly a risk to the long-term viability of Bitcoin, because the truth is there are a bunch of things now that are exactly the same as Bitcoin, except they do things like better than Bitcoin. For example, speed, fees, and privacy. So, and Bitcoin's never going to do those things very well. Most likely, it's going to be slow, it's going to be expensive to transfer, and it's not going to be private. So, is it possible one day, once people figure that out, like, oh, I could buy Litecoin, and it does everything is the same as Bitcoin. It's still never been hacked. It's still super secure. Maybe it uses less power. It's still scarce. It has all of the same qualities that makes Bitcoin great, but it's just a different thing. But people, it's possible that one day people decide that and it might be Ethereum too. That's the other thing, is it might be Ethereum too. So I do think that, just owning Bitcoin has probably become a little bit of a risk. Even though I think it still has tons of upside, I think that, you have to consider crap like this, even though it's ridiculous, as, the potential for something other than Bitcoin to end up, maybe being more prominent. And I think that's maybe why, maybe had a little something to do with Cardano today. But Ethereum is moving to proof of stake rather than proof of work, which uses way less power. So even though Ethereum isn't money and was never supposed to be money, something like that's proof of stake, which means that it's just they end up securing the network differently based on how many coins people are holding rather than people actually doing work. Could they go to something else like that? Yeah, I mean, it's possible. And people could use Ethereum as money. Version 2, supposedly the fees are going to be down and stuff, but only just Bitcoin, like I said, I don't know, there are risks involved in the energy thing. Eventually, maybe it isn't going to be crazy, because if the energy usage keeps going up and the price keeps going up, then it might get, maybe it does get ridiculous at some point. I don't know. But I think the other thing is tricky Elon was talking the day before about using Dogecoin as payments for Teslas. So he might just be setting up using Dogecoin. And maybe Dogecoin, I had this question, this is what I've been trying to find out, and I don't know the answer. But Litecoin and Dogecoin use this script hashing, if that's the right way to say it. They use a different kind of proof of work to secure their network and for the mining process. And I'm curious if it uses less energy if everything else was the same. If the market cap of Litecoin was the same as Bitcoin, would it use less power? And I don't know the answer to that, and I'm curious. But something that does use less power and does the same thing, I would say, yeah, maybe having some of that it wouldn't be crazy, because it's possible that there will be, it will become an issue eventually. It's possible. So, yeah, and, I have Litecoin, and I think it uses less power, and I like Litecoin way more than I like Doge, but I have some Doge too. So that's the news there about Elon. And yeah, maybe Dogecoin saw its legs. Dogecoin got listed on Coinbase. I just looked that up. Coinbase decided to list Dogecoin. I guess that's as good as it can get for Dogecoin, is that Coinbase lists it now. So I don't know if there's anywhere else that can list it that would open it up to new buyers. So one strategy in cryptocurrency, which isn't crazy, is to buy coins that are going to be popular that aren't listed on very many exchanges yet, and to try to get the coins before they get listed on somewhere popular like Coinbase. So now at this point, Dogecoin is listed everywhere. So the upside, it's not the same as it used to be, put it that way. But it's still pretty resilient. I still wouldn't bet against it. But it has now officially been listed everywhere. So as far as being able to go up like 10x or something like that, yeah, you have to realize, right, it's unlikely at this point with Dogecoin. It's unlikely that it's going to see a huge move to the upside the way Shiba Inu just did, or the way some of those other dog coins do. So, but there it is. It's going on Coinbase. Should be on there. And if you're going to have Dogecoin, and actually, from where it is now, it might really be going up. It does. It has in the past. It comes right back every time you think it's dead. In the past, it comes right back. So, but if you're gonna own it, you can own it, and it is good. Just a reminder, it does have a use case. I see people saying, I don't think people understand cryptocurrency who talk about it, because I don't know if people realize that Dogecoin is a functioning cryptocurrency cash alternative that actually genuinely works, and you can actually go to a store today, and if they took Dogecoin, you can pay for it and from a totally anonymous wallet as if it's cash. And it's fast and it's cheap, and it's way faster and generally and still cheaper for now than Bitcoin. It's a real functioning cryptocurrency. It's never been hacked. It's been around for a long time. It's genuinely mined into existence. You mine it right alongside of Litecoin. You mine them at the same time. I've used it before. I own it. I've used it to transfer and stuff. It works. I've sent it out live as payment. It's a real functioning cryptocurrency. So there is some value to it. That's what makes Bitcoin valuable in the end. Without the ability to transfer Bitcoin, they'll say it's just a store of value, but without the ability to transfer it, that it would be basically valueless. Dogecoin, you can use it to pay for things, and places, why not? If somebody wants to pay in Dogecoin, this is the way I look at it as a business person. If somebody wants to pay me in cryptocurrency, and that's the way they want to pay, then I'll figure out how to take it, because they're offering me something that's the equivalent of money, and there's nothing wrong with it. So I'll figure out how to take it, because I might not get the business otherwise. So businesses realize that some people have a lot of Dogecoin, and they don't want to sell it, but they'd be happy to spend it. And that is the point we're getting to in reality, where there are people out there with cryptocurrency that they're ready to spend of various types. And Dogecoin is one that you can spend. That is real cash. So when they say it has no use case, that's just completely wrong. It definitely can work. It definitely has a use case. It's generally a really good cryptocurrency. The only problem I know of, and this is from what I heard, is that every transaction costs 1 Dogecoin, which is cheap until Dogecoin costs more than $1, and then your transactions are more expensive than they need to be, and you might as well use Litecoin. That's my only problem with Dogecoin, is Litecoin is also fast, maybe faster than Doge, and cheaper, and it's scarce, and it's actually genuinely scarce. Litecoin is. So, but otherwise, no, Dogecoin is great. I mean, that's why I like it better than, philosophically speaking, better than investing in something like Shiba Inu or Akita Inu, which, as far as I know, don't really have a good use case, at least to be used as money or anything. Where Dogecoin really does. It doesn't have high fees like Ethereum and stuff. So, but people have bought this much Dogecoin, and 99% of them have I would say, might be like 99% have no idea that Dogecoin can be used as money, and that it's actually like a really outstanding demonstration of what cryptocurrency is. If you could go up to somebody in the street and do a magic trick and say, hey, look, install this wallet on your phone, install an Exodus wallet, which doesn't require your identity, it doesn't require any personal information, and then say, okay, well, show me your address and I'll send you some Dogecoin. And I can send it from my wallet, which also is not connected to my identity in any way. This is the same as cash, and it has real value. And I can just transfer it to you just like that. And with no intermediary, no third party needed. No bank account, no nothing. It's just cash. It's just like cash. So, Dogecoin is that. It is that cool. But that's not why people are buying it. But it is, it is an excellent demonstration of what cryptocurrency is. Not as good as Litecoin, though. So anyway, that's the news on Dogecoin on Coinbase. And then also the big news is in inflation. So inflation numbers came out. I've been talking about inflation. I said I started making videos on YouTube in late 2015. And at some point, I said, you got to get your money out of the banks. You got to buy silver. And that was way back when, because I said the dollar's going to be worthless. Or just, they're printing into infinity. I've been saying that for a while. I guess there are a lot of people who've been saying that. And same thing, that stock market is going to crash. So there are a lot of people who've been thinking the same thing, who probably aren't stupid, but have just been wrong, right? Like me. So if I said the stock market was going to crash, well, that's not true. It hasn't at all. I've been really wrong about that. And also that silver and gold are going to go to the moon. Silver went up from, when we were talking about it right after everything crashed last March, but it hasn't done what crypto's done. It hasn't done what the stock market has done. So people have been wrong. People have been talking about inflation for a long time. People like Peter Schiff, who was right about the 2008 crash, he's been talking about inflation. Max Kaiser, basically in the same camp. I've been talking about it as much as possible. Well, now it's basically here. Inflation is here now, and no one can deny it anymore. And it's actually really happening. And even the official numbers show it. right? So the official numbers came out, and this could cause, eventually, could cause the stock market to crash, which might trickle over into cryptocurrencies, who knows, and could cause a recession in and of itself, inflation. People can't buy as much stuff, people stop going out, etc., because prices go up. So the numbers came out, it came out at 4.2% year over year, and up, I believe, 0.8% just in 1 month. So so far this year alone, we've already had 2% inflation so far in 4 months. We've already had 2% inflation. So the reason it matters was because obviously, prices are going up. Obviously, if you're thinking that we might be headed toward inflation, it's a good idea to have things that respond well in an inflationary environment. Traditionally, gold and silver, and newly things like Bitcoin, which is digital gold. Those are the kinds of things that would protect you against inflation. And then the other thing is that when inflation expectations go up, which they have, then interest rates eventually have to go up. And when interest rates go up, then that can cause things to crash. For everything from stocks, especially growth stocks and tech stocks, to real estate because mortgage prices will go up. And that all can have, and then how much the government owes in interest payments every year also goes up if interest rates go up, and we basically become insolvent. And then, it's good night, Irene. No more, the whole credit market can completely freeze. It could be really serious, and then everything could crash, and then maybe forget about hyperinflation, and then maybe it's a deflationary depression. I mean, these are all the things that can happen in kind of like a worst case scenario when interest rates go up, and if interest rates spike, and you get a wave of defaults on loans, and then credit. It's just like catastrophic. So basically, to explain why, is if inflation goes up, right? So they say inflation is 4.2% now annually. So, but if you buy a government bond, you only get, I think now it's about 1.7% on a 10-year, over 2% on a 30-year. So if inflation is 4% and you're getting 2%, then why would you ever loan money to the government? Because you're actually losing money over time. So when inflation expectations go up, then people demand higher interest rates to lend money, because otherwise they're not going to do it. They're just going to use the money now, because if they can't even keep up with inflation, then why buy the security? Basically, why loan money to anybody if you can't even make more, if you're actually just going to lose money over the transaction? So that's what creates pressure on interest rates. And then the Fed, supposedly, it would raise interest rates if they want to fight inflation. Raising the cost of borrowing should theoretically squeeze money out of the system. More money gets burned because you're paying it back in interest. So theoretically, raising rates burns money, stops inflation. But will the Fed do that? That's an open question. And if they don't, this is where it gets into the hyperinflation situation, is if interest rates start to go up on long-term bonds, then in order to keep interest rates from going higher, the Fed has to print more money to buy more bonds, which can create more inflation, which can create more upward pressure on interest rates, which means that the Fed has to print more money to buy more bonds, create more inflation, interest rates go up. It's this crazy death spiral that, you tell me, what is the Fed going to do? They have two choices. They can let interest rates go up and the economy crashes, or they can fight it by printing money and buying bonds and create more inflation and maybe kick the can down the road a little bit further until the ultimate crash ends up just being catastrophic and crazy. And, probably total financial reset, gold standard, you name it. I mean, I don't know. Not many people are talking about that scenario right now, but eventually, we could be headed toward catastrophe. But what do I know? I'm just a guy on YouTube. I'm all in on crypto, and I have silver, so I'm not all in. I have silver, and I have cryptos, and I have mostly Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, but I have some other things too. And I still think there's, good possibilities there. So anyway, that's it. That's it for the news show. Yeah, don't worry about stupid Elon Musk. I'd say it's probably a good buying opportunity if you haven't gotten in yet. So go ahead, use one of my links. You can sign up for Coinbase. I don't give financial advice, just trying to help you prepare for the future if you see it the same way. So, and I don't even know if I'm prepared properly. So who the heck knows? All right. Going over to DLive now to talk about the news and to give you and we can celebrate because we are all never going to wear masks again, it looks like. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. And I'll tune over to DLive. You can follow me there, dlive.tv/lifttheveil. And for YouTube, get ready. That is what it is.